Tonight on College Press Box, fried Oreos and a golden hat. We're talking Red River Showdown.
The Longhorn Volleyball returned back to Austin looking to continue their win streak.
It's your favorite sports show, College Press Box, and it's now. Welcome to tonight's episode of College Press Box. I'm your host, Alex Wilkins, and joining me is Jorge Guerra. How are you, Jorge?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Well, Jorge, you were in Dallas.
I was.
How was the energy, excitement for this always exciting rivalry game?
Like you said, as always, it's exciting. The atmosphere, the environment, it's amazing. It's 109 years of tradition and never gets old.
Absolutely. Well, Texas went into this game off a tough loss to Baylor, but you really never know what to expect in this game. Let's head out to the Cotton Bowl for the highlights. Texas is taking on number 11 Oklahoma. Horns actually score first with a field goal, but right here Oklahoma's Alex Ross returns the kickoff all the way 91 yards for an OU touchdown. OU up 7-3. In the second quarter, we'll see Texas offense still looking for a touchdown, but Swoopes throws an interception, and OU going to take that all the way back for a pick six. OU up 17-3. You'll see right here, OU fans just loving it. After Swoopes, he's trying to redeem himself, and he does, to John Harris for a touchdown. Texas still trailing 17-10 going into halftime. Cedar Juniors ain't having it. Third quarter, Trevor Knight throws a Sterling Shepard, and OU is going to get their first offensive touchdown in the third quarter. OU up 24-13. And Samaje Perine rushes 13 yards for the touchdown. Things not looking so hot for Texas, 31-13. Then Swoopes with a beautiful pass to Marcus Johnson for a gain of 41 yards to the OU 5-yard line. We got a game, y'all. John Harris would score a touchdown off that. And then Swoopes for another touchdown. He runs it in 12 yards. Texas only down 5 points, looking for a comeback. But unfortunately, Texas runs out of time, and OU wins the game 31-26.
Press Box's Jeff Barker was at the game with more.
It's one of the most storied rivalries in all of college football. A week where all records and stats are thrown out the window, and all that matters is who will be crowned King of the Red River for the next year. Texas head coach Charlie Strong got his first taste of the Red River Rivalry this weekend in Dallas.
It's a great environment, and you just knew that just coming into the stadium, just seeing the fans lined up, and just, you know, just like the way our team went out and competed. This is one of those games where the record really doesn't matter. Just put the record aside, and I knew we were going to be a step faster and a step quicker, in which we were.
Unfortunately for the Longhorns, they weren't able to get Coach Strong a win in his first trip to the Cotton Bowl. Once again, it was a combination of turnovers and missed opportunities that knocked Texas out of this one.
Because of penalties and things we hurt, but you know, this game it was meant a little bit more because we knew we were that close. Tyrone's long run that gets called back on a penalty, a fumble on the goal line, interception that gets taken back. So we were that close. I mean, we could have put up points, and we just hurt ourselves.
After the loss to OU, the Longhorns sit at 2-4 on the regular season and will almost certainly be fighting to become bowl eligible by the end of the year. However, players and coaches remain optimistic that what they've shown on the field thus far is not an accurate reflection of how good this team really is.
It doesn't feel like a 2-4 team. This team, you know, we're head over heels, man. We're just making minor mistakes, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
You look at the record and you think we're having a terrible season. That's not necessarily true if you were to, you know, watch us in the first half and stuff. We've got a really good team.
Texas will have a chance to get back on track next week when they host the 2-4 Iowa State Cyclones. Reporting from the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, I'm Jeff Barker, College Press Box.
Well, it's always tough to give away that golden hat, but this was a huge learning opportunity for the Longhorns. Our football analyst, Reese Miller, is here to help us talk Texas football. How are you, Reese?
Happy Monday, guys. Thanks for having me in the glorious studio once again.
Absolutely. Well, before we get your opinion, let's hear from the man himself, Charlie Strong, at his weekly press conference this morning.
Our offense was moving the ball,
You want to give them an opportunity to get out there and just with Tyrone playing as well as he was playing, and then the running backs and offensive line just continues to get better and better. But we know this in the special teams, we have to get much better. You can't give up a kickoff return after going up 3-0 and then giving up a big return on that kickoff return. That just can't happen, because I told our players it would be the momentum will swing. It will swing Oklahoma's way, it would swing our way, it would swing back and forth. And then at the end of the day, it would settle down, and then the guys that could make the play were going to make the plays.
The Texas defense held OU to just 29 yards in the first half, but yet the Sooners went into halftime up 17-14. How? A pick six, a 91-yard kick return, and costly penalties. How much are mistakes like these costing the Longhorns?
Well, Alex, it's absolutely critical. And you look at the first drive alone, there were 4 penalties on that drive. They end up having to settle for a field goal. What it does is Texas isn't an explosive offense right now. And what they need to do is stay ahead of those chains, get into those 2nd and 6s, 3rd down and 3s, those easy to convert downs. That's what they want to do. They don't want to have to go to those long down and distance situations. And that's what their offense and a lot of the inexperienced penalties put them in those situations a lot of the time Saturday. And quite frankly, if you're Tyrone Swoopes, you just can't throw that interception. That's about as bad as it gets from the combination of a throwing standpoint, from the wide receiver not coming back to the football, and quite frankly, the effort trying to tackle on the way back on the interception pick six. And special teams, when is it finally going to be time where Texas doesn't have a huge disadvantage on special teams? Every single week it seems to be some little mistake like that seems to plague Texas tremendously. And this week it was just like that. For 4 quarters, Texas was the better football team out there in 2 of the 3 phases. Offensively and defensively, Texas dominated. However, special teams, a big-time weakness. And like you said, one of the reasons they ended up losing that game.
Absolutely, I completely agree with Reese. Personally, these mistakes keep shooting the Longhorns in the foot. Yes, the Longhorns committed 1 turnover, but like you said, it was a pick 6. The Longhorns can't keep affording to allowing other teams to score touchdowns on these bonehead mistakes. So they keep shooting themselves in the foot. They have to stop doing that, because this team runs off momentum and confidence, and if they keep doing that, they'll lose that vibe.
Right. Well, Charlie Strong also had more to say about those costly errors.
What needs to happen, and what guys have to understand, and the players have to understand, that you don't take a play off with special teams. And it's, we have offense, you have defense, you have special teams, and that's not a time to take the play off. You look at that UCLA game, and we punt the ball away, and the ball should have been punted to the outside. It's punted down the middle, which allowed them to get to the boundary. But we still got to run. No matter where the ball is punted, we still got to go make the play on the ball. And with that kickoff return there on Saturday, and like I said, there's 2 guys just didn't even get blocked, and we didn't make the play. So it's just a matter of us getting it done.
Well, looking at the positive, Tyrone Swoopes, who just last week was criticized as young and inexperienced, put up 384 yards against Oklahoma. That's the most ever in the history of the Red River Showdown, even beating out Sam Bradford in 2008. From what you guys saw, is Swoopes the real deal?
For me, he's still not the real deal. I thought we had pretty low expectations. I know, me personally, I was very, very skeptical on Tyrone Swoopes coming into the first 2 games. I thought he did a nice job starting out 8 for 8, then 11 for 11 in his first couple of starts. But then I thought he took a real step back against Kansas and against Baylor. He talked about how he was rattled by the offensive line. And I'm still not convinced this is a polished enough passer. I don't think he's as quick, and I think the running game, he's not as great as everyone would like him to be in that aspect. I will say he came back extremely nicely, and he was the best quarterback on the field. Don't get that confused at all on Saturday. I thought he did a nice job coming back after the interception, making reads. It was the first time, really, for me, he didn't have just 1 read. He stepped up, did some nice things in the pocket, and he did a great job coming back. I'm convinced if Texas offensively gets that football back in the last couple minutes, they win that game. However, is this the guy for the future? I'm still not convinced. I don't think he's an elite guy at this level, and I don't think he's the guy of the future, no.
I agree. There's still some question marks there, but it was clear the Longhorns had a better sophomore quarterback that Saturday night in Swoopes against Trevor Knight. He outplayed his counterpart, Trevor. And in the first Red River Rivalry for both players, Swoopes completed 27 of 44 passes for a career high, like I said, 334 yards. And it was a great game, but it's still questionable. He still has a lot to improve and polish, like Reese said.
While it's clear that Swoopes is definitely improving, there's still a major offensive issue. For the 4th straight game, Texas hasn't scored a single point in the 3rd quarter. What's going on, guys?
It's pretty incredible when you take a look at it, and that puts their defense in a real tough spot. You look back at BYU, I believe that game is a lot closer than it really appeared if the offense does anything. I mean, time after time, they go 3 and out, they put their defense in really tough spots. And for a defense that has the capability to be top 10 in the country and played like it for most of Saturday afternoon, that's one of the real problems is when the offense puts them in that type of situation. So that's the real problem for me.
Absolutely, I agree. And this team relies a lot on the rush, and Texas was averaging 1.3 yards after contact. If Texas can just really balance out the run and the pass, and maybe even try some deep threats and balance it and be less predictable and be more unpredictable, the team could really start scoring more if they become less predictable.
All right, well, as of right now, the team is now 2-4 and would have to win 4 of the next 6 games to even be bowl eligible. The Texas players are still buying in that can happen, but at this rate, how likely is a bowl game?
Well, Alex, you talked about the offense, and incredibly, they put up the most offensive yards when you talked about we tear this offense apart of how lack of explosive it is, and they put up the most yards that any Texas team has put up on Oklahoma since 1999. But you're talking about the bowl berth. That means they have to go 4-2 from here on out. That would include wins against in my mind, a top 10 TCU team, against a good Kansas State team, against a good top 20 Oklahoma State team. They're going to have to upset one of those teams, and I'm not convinced West Virginia doesn't come in here and give the Longhorns a real struggle. So right now for me, it's hard for me to say they're going to go 4-2. I saw some major improvement, but a bowl game for me right now, I don't see it.
Yeah, bowl game was going to be very tough. The OU game wasn't a desperation win, but I bet the Horns would have liked to pull off the upset because the Horns are still searching for that first signature win under Charlie Strong. Like I said, 4-2 record, like Reese said, it's highly unlikely. I don't see it, but it's still possible. You can't rule it out.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Reese. Thank you, Jorge. Coming up, well, actually, before that, Reese, we're going to have you later back in to talk more Big 12. But football may have faced their 4th loss, but Texas volleyball is like, what's this word losing mean? Coming up, we'll see if they kept up their undefeated record against Baylor and Texas Tech. You know you want to stay tuned. It's College Press Box.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's transition over to the brighter part of Texas sports. Texas volleyball was at it twice last week. Number 2 volleyball returned to Austin and swept the Baylor Bears as they increased their win streak to 12 games. Let's take it out to Gregory Gymnasium for the highlights. Texas Longhorns huddled up and prepared for the Baylor Bears matchup. Here, Chloe Collins gets the assist from Amy Neal and the kill. Texas goes up 24-11 and ends up winning the set 25-12. But check out this defensive series by both teams, the Longhorns and the Bears. There was a total of 15-second defensive series and around 3 digs. That one right there, impressive save by Baylor, but Texas in the end gets the point as Sarah Haydes gets the kill. Texas wins the set. Texas goes up 25-13, but Eckerman seals the deal with that ace. Texas wins 25-13. Now in the 3rd set, Chloe Collins sets up Chiaka Ubagu for the kill. Texas up 24-17. Now here, match point. Texas is looking for the win. Great defensive series, and they get the block right here. The series is still going on, but the block right here by Texas puts them up 25-17. Texas wins, and their unbeaten record continues.
The Horns stayed in Austin for Thursday's game against Texas Tech, killed it as usual, pun intended. The Horns won the first set 25-19 thanks to the dynamic duo of sophomores Chloe Collins and Pauline Prieto-Cerame. Texas also dominated the second set 25-17, and you guessed it, the 3rd set too. Horns won the set and match 25-19, bringing their all-time series against Texas Tech to 27-0. Yes, that's right. The Red Raiders have literally never beaten Texas volleyball. Also with that game, Texas tied their all-time home streak of 33 straight wins at Gregory Gym. The team is now 18-0 and will play Kansas State this Saturday in Kansas.
This week was great volleyball. Like Reese said, our colleague said, Texas has a lot of depth on the volleyball roster, and the team is looking very strong. They got 13 wins in a row. I'm looking forward to see what they can do in national contenders possibly. Once again, that's something great to look forward to.
I think so. It's exciting to have a volleyball team that's always killing it every week.
Absolutely.
All right, well, soccer fell to number 11 Kansas 1-0 on Friday. Despite the Horns having the best chances in the early parts of the first and second halves, they failed to capitalize on 17 shot attempts, 7 of them on target for goal. UT head coach Angela Kelly went in with the plan to control the rhythm of the game and dictate the tempo of the match by forcing the issue with 3 attackers up front. The game was held scoreless until the 63rd minute of the match as Ashley Williams of the Jayhawks scored a goal on the assist from teammate Liana Salazar. The loss brings the Horns' record to 7-5-2 on the season, 2-2 in conference play. The Longhorns look to bounce back this Friday in Fort Worth, Texas, as they face TCU.
Now, just a day before the Longhorns faced off OU in the Red River Rivalry, we had more football, not the traditional football, but rugby, as they played OU as well up in Dallas. They went in the underdogs, but came out short, 45-24. They beat themselves in the foot just like the football team did as well. They had a player taken out, unfortunately, with a concussion, taken to the hospital. But then Ed Elvin got a red card and was ejected, and that put the team down, and they just allowed too many runs, too many big plays, and that put them in the big holes, and it was just too much to dig themselves out of as they came up short, 45-24. They look to bounce back next week. However, we have prayers and best of luck for Taylor Hayes as he recovers from his concussion. Now we take it out, our very own Rachel Winslow from College Press Box was at the game with more here in a second with the captain.
It was obviously emotional. Like we're playing OU. That's always going to be an emotional game, and especially losing players to cards and injuries, especially key players like Ed and Taylor. I mean, that hurts a lot. All of us really wanted this game, and obviously really emotional. We had even in the first half, we had good pressure at certain points of the game, but we just didn't string it together consistently. In the second half, we started doing it consistently, made them make mistakes, and capitalized on them. Hopefully we'll get a crack at them in the Varsity Cup, though. I'm really crossing my fingers on that because I would love to play this team again and get another shot at them.
We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Seriously, put the remote down. It's College Press Box.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Our football analyst Reese Miller said he missed us way too much, so he's back. But now let's take a deeper look into the Big 12. First off, talk about a crazy game. Number 5 Baylor took on number 9 TCU. Horned Frogs were winning 58-37 in the fourth quarter, thinking it's done, but Baylor being Baylor scored 24 unanswered points to beat TCU 61-58. Is Baylor a legitimate contender for the playoffs and possibly even the championship game?
Guys, it's been way too long. Thanks for having me back as usual. And I see Baylor as a contender for the playoffs simply because who beats them in the Big 12? I think they're a better team than Oklahoma. I think they're better than Kansas State. I think they're better than Oklahoma State. Now, Baylor to me is a team begging to get upset by one of those. They were there for the taking for Texas. They were there for the taking for TCU. Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of confidence in their defense. And Bryce Petty in the first half last week and against Texas looked extremely mediocre. So I have some major questions about Baylor. They're not a title contender, but for the playoffs, there's a good possibility.
I'm going to keep this short and simple. I agree completely with Reese, but you mentioned it, defense. Not quite convinced about their defense. I have the philosophy defense wins championships, so if they can get their defense together, they could be contenders.
All right, well, another close game was number 16 Oklahoma State versus Kansas. OK State barely escaped an upset by the Jayhawks, winning just 27-20. Is Kansas improving, or is Oklahoma State a little overrated right now?
I'm going to go somewhere right in between. I think Kansas has gotten a little better. I think Montreal Cozart has started to develop, but at the same time, I do think Oklahoma State is a little bit too overrated. And Coach Gundy talked about it this morning. They're just not that good on offense like we've seen in recent years past. Quarterback Dax Garman has really struggled. He's got a good deep ball, but besides that, Oklahoma State is lacking a solid running attack with Desmond Rowland this year. And I really think they are waiting to slip up several games later on throughout the Big 12 season. So I'm somewhere in between on that one.
I feel like Kansas is improving. They have improved every game, but the QB situation is still a question mark, of course. Kansas has a 26.1 total QBR this season. That's one of the worst in the FBS. Now, OK State, I would say, is not overrated, but a little overhyped. They have a solid QB in Dax Garman, but I feel like OK State is not overrated, but just a little overhyped. But Kansas as well improves every game as they play.
Right. Well, Texas plays Iowa State this Saturday, so let's take a look at how the Cyclones played last week. They actually had a break from conference play and beat Toledo 37-30. Another close game, but what impressed y'all most about Iowa State?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm super impressed by a win over Toledo for a team in the Big 12 Conference, but Iowa State, I do believe, has improved, especially their passing game with Sam B. Richardson. He's got a couple of new weapons to work with on the outside. They can put up a little bit more points. Gave Kansas State a tough go of it, but then again, they got blown out the first week of the season against North Dakota State. I think they give Texas a little bit of a problem, not offensively, but I'm not sure Texas just runs them out of the stadium here at home on Saturday night. I think it's a close game, but Iowa State, if I'm Texas, is the game to really progress, make a statement. All this momentum from Oklahoma and from the Red River game, take that into this game and really show what you are.
Absolutely. This is the time where Texas should take chances. They need to start throwing deep passes, letting Swoopes go loose a little bit, have him gain more confidence in his arm and his capability of he's very versatile. So if he can just let him loose a little bit, I think Texas can really make a statement in this game and build confidence off of it.
Right. Well, we talked about Iowa State's strengths, but where are they lacking, and how can the Longhorns capitalize on those weaknesses this Saturday?
I think the biggest thing is the defense for Texas. I don't see them giving up maybe over 14 points to an Iowa State offense. The key is to limit big plays, of course. Against Oklahoma, really two big plays really cost them. Quandre Diggs was a shutout all game long, yet one play later gets that going. Also, limit the mistakes. Special teams, we've seen that play a big part. Limit the penalties on offense. I believe Texas is the incredibly much more talented, better football game this Saturday. Limit the mistakes, no turnovers, shut their offense down, and Texas will walk out of Saturday with a win.
Oh, I agree completely, 100%. If Texas can just play crisp and clean football on offense, no turnovers, this is the time where Swoopes can just really polish his skills, take things slow, and just, build confidence in himself. This is the time to take advantage, not necessarily because they are, Iowa State's a good team, but Texas defense is going to keep them down 14 points, like Reese said, I believe, as well. So this is time for Texas to really take advantage.
All right, well, thank you, Reese. Thank you, Jorge. We love having you guys on the show. Coming up on College Press Box, we find out what UT students hate most about Oklahoma. We're definitely not biased or anything. We'll be right back.
Thanks for sticking with us on College Press Box. Before the Texas OU Red River Rivalry game, College Press Box very own Cooper Irwin tested Texas students' knowledge with some trivia questions. Let's take it out.
I'm Cooper Irwin, here with College Press Box, talking to students about the upcoming Red River Showdown. Does anybody know the score of last year's game between Texas and OU? Oh, anybody?
No.
We lost.
Yeah, we
lost.
That's
all I know.
Did we?
I know. Did Texas win?
We did win.
Yeah, we did win, and it was by a little bit, I think.
36-20?
Got it. All right. Do you know when the first game between Texas and OU was? What year?
1886.
1950s?
You're about 50 years off. 1900.
1900. Wow.
Yeah.
Late.
What is your least favorite part about the state of Oklahoma?
Least favorite? Russell Westbrook. The women that get married there wear camo wedding dresses, and that's a fact.
My least favorite part is how much it sucks.
For College Press Box, I'm Cooper Irwin.
Gotta love it. Well, one thing Texas fans do like about Oklahoma is Kevin Durant. But unfortunately, the reigning MVP suffered a Jones fracture, or in other words, broke a bone in his right foot. The injury will likely put him out about 6 to 8 weeks of the Thunder season. If you remember, this is the exact same injury that had David Ash out this summer for over 3 months. And Thunder GM Sam Presti said Durant's injury didn't happen from a specific incident, but built up over time. The team did catch the injury early, but will conduct further evaluation to see if Durant will need surgery or not.
This week on Longhorn Sports, we have plenty for you. On Thursday, the 16th through Sunday, we have women's tennis versus UTSA for the ITA Regional Championship. And then Friday, the 17th, we have men's swimming and diving against A&M. They don't face the orange and white as they did that last week. And then we have soccer as well on Friday at 7 p.m. at TCU.
All right, then Friday through Sunday, we have the men's golf at U.S. Collegiate. Then Saturday, big day for Texas. We've got Texas football versus Iowa State at 7 p.m. Longhorn Network's going to broadcast that, but you better all be at the game. And volleyball at Kansas State is at 7 p.m. Track and field at the NCAA pre-nationals. Then men's tennis at UTSA ITA Texas Regional Championship. Then on Sunday, October 19th, softball versus Incarnate Word is at 2 p.m.
And today, baseball has a scrimmage at 6 p.m. And as well today through Tuesday, tomorrow, women's golf Betsy Rawls Invitational. And then Wednesday on the 15th, baseball scrimmage once again at 6 p.m.
Before we go, check out what Kirk Herbstreit had to say about Texas football after the game. He tweeted, "If that's a sign of the heart and fight that Charlie Strong's Texas teams are going to play with, I'm on board." What about you, Jorge? You on board?
I'm on board.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Well, what's your prediction for this Texas-Iowa State game this weekend?
Well, I feel like Texas' defense is really doing well so far. If the offense can just get it together, relax, build their confidence, and really take advantage this week, I feel it's going to be 7-24 Texas.
All right, I can dig it. All right, well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to College Press Box. You can follow us on Twitter at College Press Box. You can catch us every Monday night right here at TSTV at 9:30.
And for some of the best sports debates in the 40 acres, tune into College Crossfire every Wednesday at 9:30. Follow them on Twitter at CollegeX5.
From everyone here in the studio, Master Control, Jorge, and myself, have a great night.